So at the start, I just want to get this out of the way. Lightmatter is a good game. It's got a solid gameplay loop, the art style is unique and understated, and the soundtrack is my kind of atmospheric, muted synthwave accompaniment. In many ways, Lightmatter could be a great game, and while it isn't plagued with bugs or little niggling problems here and there, it's actually quite stable. It does come with a couple of glaring issues that, if you can steel yourself against and not let them get to you, Lightmatter will make for a really fun experience. Sadly, I have to open with a point not about the game per se, but about a more meta business decision regarding the game's actual release. On the Steam store, Lightmatter says that it's free. It is not. Only after you go to the store page and scroll down will you find that it is in fact free to try for an hour, after which you can buy the full game for around $20. Now personally, this wouldn't faze me so much, but I've been on the internet long enough to know that this could be a massive misstep on the part of most likely the publisher. The internet can be a hostile place if you aren't careful with your wordplay, and I can't help but worry that this decision to have a demo paraded as a free game will be seen by some as deceptive practices. I mean, I'm all for trying out new marketing and monetization to see what works, but Steam games have been offering demos just fine for years, either through a separate line item or listed as a demo in the game's store page separately and clearly. So this seems like a dangerous call. On top of that, I got through the game in around 5 hours, but you might get through it in 4 as I got shamefully stuck on the last puzzle, which to some might seem a tall order for $20 when it comes to value for money. Now throw all those components together and you may have a recipe for disaster with this game getting backlash before it even gets played. Right, well, on to some cheerier stuff. This game, for the most part, is a solid experience and I truly enjoyed my time with it. You play as a nameless protagonist that strayed too far from the tour group in a high-tech facility working with something called Lightmatter. It seems it could be some sort of breakthrough new energy source, but as with all good thrillers, not all is as it might originally seem. With the aid of your guide, the aptly named Virgil, you must traverse the facility employing light sources, lamps, and specialised light rods to progress, all while avoiding shadows as even one touch will kill you. It's a neat idea and it executes on it incredibly well, leveraging just about any scenario you could think of where lighting your path before moving forward would be the case. Notably, you yourself don't actually cast a shadow, which is interesting. I mean, one of the first things people are likely to do in a shadow-based game is look at their feet, but it clearly isn't an oversight, as having to deal with your own shadows would undermine the construction of these devilish puzzles. The art style is perfect for this game. Colours are muted and stylistically there is some cell shading going on, not dissimilar to the classic 13 and more recently Borderlands. It's not that it's bland, but rather designed to complement the core loop of discerning light from shadow. Additionally, the music is sublime. No big bombastic action swells here, but again, a more complimentary new wave score that only deepens your descent into the game's atmosphere. Now they say imitation is the highest form of flattery, and while there is wisdom in these words, consider for a moment the imitator. Personally, I always took this as looking at an idea or concept and then using that as a jumping off point, inspiration for greater iteration if you will. But what happens when you play it too close? At what point are you just lifting the original work whole cloth and slapping your own stamp on it? Surely there is a line. It's an interesting conundrum which I've never really given much thought to, because up until Lightmatter, I had never seen such a brazen example of flirting with homage to the point of potentially straight up copying. Let me elaborate. If you thought this game looked and sounded in many ways like the Portal games, then you wouldn't be wrong. This game doesn't just wear its Portal inspirations on its sleeve, this would be closer to an entire bodysuit dedicated to all things Portal. Air vents off the beaten path with scrawlings and hidden clues? Check. Slow descent into furnace-like finale only to narrowly escape death? Check. Condescending and snarky guide bombarding you with dry humour? I think you get the point. And as if that's not enough, on several occasions Virgil directly references Aperture Science's practices, including something about a cake recipe. I found a radio playing GLaDOS's Still Alive, as well as a companion cube and an Aperture turret. Now I'm all for Easter eggs that tip their hat to other games, but this was a bit overkill and on the nose, at least in my opinion. I found myself asking, at what point does Valve have legal grounds to come after your game? Fan projects are shut down every day for flying too close to the sun, from asset flips to minor inspiration. It feels to me to be a glaring mark against what is actually a very strong puzzler at its foundational design. All in all, Lightmatter is a good game. Its loop, atmosphere, art, music, and just general gameplay experience is more than solid. Some questionable publishing and writing decisions could serve to mar your experience, but this will ultimately come down to personal taste. For some, this will be distracting and untenable, whereas others won't mind and will find a really strong puzzler with elegant puzzle designs and solutions. So I do recommend this game, as I can't deny that I had a wonderful experience during my time with it, but my caveats still stand. Now, on a more personal note, this was the first of what I hope to be many reviews going into 2020 on the channel, so if you found this helpful or perhaps had any feedback to help me improve the experience, then please do drop me a comment. If you like what I do here on the channel, from reviews, impressions, to let's plays and first looks, then perhaps consider becoming a member of the channel. For $1 a month, you get to be credited as an executive producer at the start of my videos, but most importantly, help fund my work signal boosting indie games in the crowded space that is the internet. Once again, thanks for your time, but we might just leave it there for the time being, and I'll catch you guys on the next one.